Check and make sure our project directory is set to Extremes. Click OK. Go to File. I'm going to load a scene from the Scenes folder called Extremes2.fxs. Animating a character is pretty much the equivalent of animating several boxes. You just have to animate more than one object that's sitting in a hierarchy. This is a good lesson because it'll show you how to keyframe with key groups, and it gives you a brief experience with armatures. Let's check some settings here. Make sure our channel edit is set to all channels. We're going to scale. Make sure our scale is set on Y on the graph. Let's click into the Edit tab. I'm going to move down to Keyframe Editing Options. Open that up wide. Make sure Spline Edit is set to all channels. Makes editing splines on the object a lot easier. Let's click into the Animate tab. First thing we need to do is get this out of a default position. This is just a basic forward kinematic arm. You rotate the parent, then you rotate the child. We're going to lay his hand down on the ground, so we'll pitch down the shoulder. Let's rotate the elbow. We'll switch to a left view. We can see what we're doing. Middle mouse click to highlight the wrist. We'll bank the wrist so his hand's flat. And here's a basic rundown of the armature. We have an armature. Switch to perspective view here. There's an armature that controls the fingers. Do it that way so we don't have to see all of these other groups and channels. But the armature still sets keyframes for us. If you left mouse click, you can move the base of the fingers on heading. If you right mouse click, you can pitch the fingers up and down. Same thing with the digits when you grab the ends with the left mouse click. Right now, we're just going to turn it into a closed hand. Just use left mouse click to run on pitch and right mouse to run on heading. You'll see we can work on the fingers while our wrist is still selected, so we can position everything at one time. Switch back into a camera view. See, we don't have a good silhouette here, so let's just bank the hand. We'll pitch that up so you can see that he's resting his hand on the table. Straighten out the fingers a bit more here. He's going to hold this frame for 20 frames. You tap the Enter key to bring up the Create Key dialog. See, we have Group selected in the button, and there's a pull-down menu with our current group. It's going to create a key at frame 20. Click OK. He's going to raise his hand really fast on frame 30. So we create another key by tapping the Enter key. It's going to create it at 30. Click OK. Let's bank this arm up, pitch it up. So he's going to create a fist in the air. We'll select the wrist, we'll bank that wrist up high. Switch to a perspective view. Curl the fingers over. Just by left mouse clicking to curl. Let's adjust this wrist on heading. It's going to pick up his hand from the previous position. Hold that to frame 45, so we just tap the Enter key 3 times. We'll create a keyframe on that, and then stick his hand back down in position like he's pounding his fist on the floor. So about frame 55, we create another keyframe and pound his fist down on the floor. If you can't get the wrist and the hands positioned the way you want them to, and you see a keyframe that you would rather use, for example this keyframe, we can just copy that keyframe over to our last keyframe. Just remember the frame number, which is up top here or down here, and go back to the key that you want. Tap the Enter key and type in your frame number, which in this case is 55. Click OK. So he hits his hand right there. And then we continue altering our character. Switch back to a perspective view. curl the fingers back over again just by using left mouse click on our armature. See that his hand has met the ground there when he pounds his fist. So we go to camera. You can see him pound, smack. So we'll just play this and you can see him going through the actions. He's holding, pounding, holding, pounding. It seems a bit soft right now. We need to check our timing by going into the Edit tab here, and we'll set Scene Keys Flat. Click back into Animate. You can see that it will just go through a set of stair-step keys. This is our pose, pound. Pose, pound. If you need to move these keys, we can use the Move Key dialog. For example, he holds the frame here and he's not pounding fast enough. Let's lengthen out the animation so you can see him pounding. Pop. And he holds it that way. Let's go back into Edit. We'll uncheck Scene Keys Flat so you can see what I'm doing. Click back into Animate. We select this keyframe and we want to move it, say, to frame 50 instead. So we go back to frame 45 and we hit the backslash key to bring up the Move Key dialog. Move that over. And we want to move it to frame 50, so we type in 50 on the Move Key 2, click OK, and it moves everything in the group to frame 50. So now he hits it faster. Goes up, hits. Go to File. We're going to save this scene as Extremes2A.fxs.